In 2007, I edited a special issue of Psychopharmacology on dopamine. 2007 was in fact a pretty big year for dopamine, if a transmitter can have such a thing. For example, there was a meeting in Gothenburg, Sweden, marking the 50th anniversary of the discovery of dopamine and as a transmitter. And the centerpiece of that meeting was a celebration of the Nobel Prizes won by Paul Greengard and Arvid Carlsson in 2000. In fact, that decade was a rich time for dopamine research, which set the stage for a lot of what is going on now. In fact, there was a debate about the role of dopamine in various behavioral functions, especially related to aspects of motivation. Moreover, there was an actual debate, a debate between myself, Kent Berridge, and Roy Weiss, which was staged at a Gordon conference in 2005. My recollection of that is that the debate was a lot of fun. Roy Weiss, of course, was a central figure in dopamine research related to reinforcement and addiction at that time, and his ideas stimulated a lot of research. During the debate, Kent and I basically picked apart what was then referred to as the anhedonia hypothesis of dopamine function, which Roy was very much associated with. What Kent and I agreed upon was that many of the hypothesized functions of dopamine were painted with too broad a brush, and that to a certain extent, the field had lost some meaning and ability to obtain specificity. So we both favored parsing incentive motivation into subcomponent parts, and we emphasized that interfering with dopamine transmission, while it certainly impaired some aspects of incentive motivation, left other aspects intact. I remember that after I made my final case in the debate, in which I had enumerated specific findings that went against the general dopamine hypothesis of reward, Suzanne Haber told me that I was like a prosecuting attorney making his final case to the jury. Well, to continue with that metaphor, the jury is still out. The debates about dopamine function continue to play out in the literature with a whole new generation of investigators and techniques contributing. I've continued with that line of research, focusing on the important role that dopamine plays in functions such as behavioral activation, exertion of effort, and effort-based decision-making. I've also shifted to a more clinically relevant focus, developing animal models related to motivational symptoms and psychopathology, things such as anergia, avolition, and fatigue. If the past was prologue to now, I see vestiges of that old debate playing out in the psychiatry literature, where I think there's too much of a tendency to label every deficit in goal-directed activity simply as anhedonia. Thus, to get a big picture perspective on it, the dopamine debates continue. They continue to stimulate research and thinking in this area. So to all young investigators out there watching this video, I say, welcome to the wonderful world of dopamine, but make sure you read a lot first. Thank you.